So Jay, how was the work group formed and what's its purpose?
As a result of the public health crisis that was declared to exist in Florida due to the pandemic, Chief Justice Charles Canady of the Florida Supreme Court in March of 2020 issued emergency orders for all the courts in Florida. He had the foresight and was proactive to create and organize this Supreme Court work group on the continuity of operations and proceedings as you identified. It consists of, I believe, 18 members. The majority are judges. There are a few clerks of court. There are some OSCA staff and administration who are just so valuable in our work. There's one public defender, one state attorney, and one civil trial lawyer. His mission was to consider what's needed and what's necessary during and after COVID under the chairmanship of Judge Lisa Munyon from the Ninth Judicial Circuit. We have in principle and in practice become an additional clearinghouse for the Chief Judge, the Chief Justice, and the Supreme Court on the pandemic, providing information, data, and in essence serve as a board, as an advisory board for the Chief Justice on operations and proceedings.
I've been so grateful that the courts have been able to proceed remotely, but can you give us a little bit of an update on what the work group is working on now?
Sure. We've worked on now for almost a year, just that I know that you're aware of and everyone else is, that has reflected on the administrative orders on proceedings, operations, and practices during COVID. We have recently addressed the criminal court's capacity to resolve criminal cases that authorize remote criminal jury trials only with the consent of the defendant. This included preparing a colloquy between the courts, the defendant, the attorneys in the case, so that there is a pattern of the types of inquiry that needs to be made to safeguard the voluntary admission to provide a remote criminal jury trial. This included all of the questions that were worked on tremendously by the criminal subgroup with the approval of the group overall. We addressed also whether the prior speedy trial suspension needed reassessing, and we dealt with the resumption of 90 days after the Chief Justice approves a certification of whether a phase 3 or phase 4 that we're now dealing with for a circuit to be engaged in reopening. Our metrics have always been in the phasing of the circuits with respect to attempting to reopen the courts for in-person proceedings. And that's a metric that has been developed with the advice and the support of many medical healthcare professionals, epidemiologists, infectious disease in the state of Florida that have been provided to the work group.
Thanks, Jay. I know that's really important work. Those speedy trials and those criminal cases, I know everybody wants to get back to court. And I know everybody wants to get back to their life. But in the meantime, the pandemic has required us to isolate and to take precautions. And as you know, the health and wellness of all Florida bar members is critically important to me and continues to be a top priority. Do you have one health and wellness tip you could give to our Florida bar members listening in?
What I do and what I think is most important is communication. I think that it is critical to communicate with your partners, your associates, your colleagues about the issues that they're facing, because the truth is you're facing them oftentimes too. And there's strength in recognizing you're not alone. There's strength in numbers to discuss these issues. I don't miss a day that I'm not talking to my lawyers that I'm blessed to work with in my very small firm about their cases, about their problems, about their issues, about the results, and about their personal lives if they want to share. So I think communication within that immediate group that you can be effective with is the most important.
Thanks, Jay. That's really great advice. We spend so much time at work, sometimes more time than we spend at home, and we forget how important it is for us to communicate on a personal level with everyone around us. I really appreciate it.